It's the hashtag Simply Cyber, COWMUNITY. Here to break the cycle, this is vital more than you and I. Yeah, it's exciting, it don't matter what your title is. You can grab a friend or two or three or four, invite them in. It's the Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's the live with Jerry every morning, having good time. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. It's the Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's the live with Jerry every morning, having good time. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. Dr. Auger is a OG, got that potion, the elixir, got devotion to all those who keep on showing up to witness. Spit the tricks and quips and all the tips to raise your cyber fitness. Switching up the routines, pass it off to James quicker. Keep the people smiling, hit that follow, that's a good decision. Every week, today, tomorrow, I encourage y'all to listen. We gon' teach y'all way more than how to protect yourselves from phishing. More like being confident so you can recognize the vision. On a mission, it's official. We gon' get through all these issues. Time for Gerald, Jackin, baby. This is more than a tradition, yeah. Oh, I can't forget to recognize the mods. They the engine, they the reason that you leave and feeling charged. It's a Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's a live with Jerry every morning, having good time. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. It's a Simply Cyber, bring a good vibe. It's the live with Jerry every morning, having good times. And you know we love to see for you, just gotta go and get it. Yeah, you know we all believe in you, it's time to grow together. Yeah. What else can I say? I hope you find some value in this place and have yourself an awesome day. Simply Cyber's here to stay. So let's all put our hands together ready. Time to hang with Dr. A.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Happy Friday. Today is February 28th, 2028. Today is Friday, February 28th, 2025. Hello from the future. This is episode 823 or 24 of your Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger. And over the next hour, me, you, DJ B-Sec behind the glass, Mara Levy, Code Brew, our February Meta CTF winner, Dan Reardon, a.k.a. the Haircut Fish, Scott B. Looks like the Kansas City crew, so Toasty Pops, etc., Marlon Johnson. Folks over on LinkedIn like Okundu Nelson. Folks over on folks on LinkedIn like Okundu Nelson. Folks on YouTube like Brian Mulder, Real Bilbo, Mondo Avila. We're all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories, on what it means to you as a practitioner. So how can you use this information to drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders? Or don't think you got to be a practitioner to enjoy this show and get value from it, because if you're looking to break into the industry, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be asked in any job interview, how do you stay current? The Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast is a phenomenal answer to that question. If you engage with the show, i.e. listen to what we're saying, pay attention to the stories, make your own insights, do your own follow-up on a story or a particular topic that's interesting to you, take the initiative. This is just, basically foundation for you to build on your own career. I'm telling you, you're going to be asked in the interview, how do you stay current? And when you say the Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief, it's a high five across the table. And more importantly, if they ask you a question like, end user calls in and says that they fell for a fish, what do? You can begin to layer in your response things that have just happened in the last couple days into your response, which will show that you are staying current on the industry. It's very, very powerful stuff. I love it. Also, want to know if you're a first timer here, drop a hashtag first timer in chat. We love welcoming our first timers and letting them know what's going on. Now, we've got a great show for you. I want you to know that I do not research or prep for any of the stories that we're about to do.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Because ain't nobody got time for that. Like right now, just between you and I really quickly, right before we went live, my production window has four windows going on so I can see what's going on. And my Discord one went full screen, and for some reason I cannot make it not full screen. So it's either full screen or it's no screen. So I'm riding dirty right now with Mod Chat being hidden. So Mod Chat, I can't see you. It's literally DJ B-Suck behind the glass or nothing today. James O'Quigan with 10 gifted subs coming at you straight to the face. Ashlyn Matthews, Bad News Vegas, Beyond the Firewall, and 7 others picking up those squad memberships. Thank you so very much, James O'Quigan at 35,000 feet. Very, very kind of you. Speaking of James O'Quigan at 35,000 feet, every single day of the week has a special segment. And Friday is James McQuiggan's Joke of the Week. James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. This is him right here. Longtime Simply Cyber community member. If you know, you know. And if you don't, allow me to introduce you because this guy is awesome. And he brings us the rib ticklers every Friday. And obviously he does squad memberships. Chuck Sapp dropping bombs. Showing Team SC some love. ABD praise. Happy Friday. Loeb, ABD praise. Is AB in Chuck Sapp, are you saying all but dissertation? Let me know. If that, because when I see ABD, that's what I'm thinking. Anyways, thanks for the super chat. And thanks for the squad memberships, James O'Quigan. Guys, let's go ahead and say a quick shout out and read on the sponsors for the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, those who enable me to bring this show to you every day and do fun stuff like GRC Mafia. I will engage with all of you in chat as these ads are rolling. And I do want to say really... Chuck with the super chat. I do want to say really quick, if you're looking to drop some praise, let's holler at this one really quickly. Just last night was the February Meta CTF. So every month we run a CTF for the community in part with Meta CTF, Simply Cyber Academy right there. We have our own private scoreboard. And last night we ran it. And congratulations to Dan Reardon, the haircut fish, taking first place, winning that coveted black badge role on the Discord server, as well as a $100 gift card. Second place, Thomas Marquette with the $50 Amazon gift card. And the Upstate's Code Brew, a.k.a. Brent Book, with third place. Great job, everybody who competed. And obviously, Poner Joe is going to get with you to get your contact information and get you your prizes. All right, let's roll through the ads. I'll be back in a minute, but I'll be live in chat during this whole time. Let's go. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. What's up, Simply Cyber? You know what keeps CISOs up at night? The unknown. Those exposed assets and leaked creds floating around the dark web that you don't even know about? Well, that's where Flare steps in. Think of Flare as your organization's amazing threat hunting capability, continuously scanning both clear and dark web for exposed enterprise assets, leaked secrets, and even compromised credentials being sold in private channels. Their cutting-edge platform, powered by transparent, generative AI, prioritizes real threats so your team can take immediate action. Stop playing catch-up with threat actors. Get ahead with Flare's threat exposure management capability. Don't take my word for it. Visit try.flare.io/simplycyber and try it for yourself. Do you want cutting-edge, high-quality cybersecurity education, regardless of financial position? Check this out. I want to give some love and some praise to Antisyphon Training, powered by Black Hills Information Security. Antisyphon Training is absolutely disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. They bring industry professionals with years and years of experience into the classroom to teach you and anyone else who's interested practical skills that are in demand in the market today. And on top of that, the student experience is amazing, as you and hundreds or thousands in some instances of other students are actively engaging, networking, sharing tips, tricks, and experiences with each other, all live in the classroom. Go to antisyphontraining.com, check out their course calendar to see what courses they have coming up next. You won't regret it. All right. Holla, holla, holla. Thank you all so very much. working with the mod, I think I maybe accidentally set up a new, like, you know how on Linux, like for 30 years you've been able to do this, you can have different desktops or whatever. I think Discord might have its own desktop right now. I'm not entirely sure. Every day I slowly slip into more of a executive or like every day I'm slipping and falling. I need help. Guys, seriously, shout out to all the stream sponsors. I do want to mention really quick, there are links in the description for all of the sponsors. I do say them in the ad reads, but definitely check them out. I use Delete Me. I know others in the community use Delete Me. I love Flare. I actually have a video on Flare. I think Flare's phenomenal for threat intelligence. ThreatLocker obviously has been around for a while. Antisyphon, I pair with Black Hills and Zach Hill and Kathy Chambers all the time. And Barricade Cyber Solutions, guys, I got to tell you, Eric Taylor, he's actually behind the glass right now. Him, the entire team over at Barricade Cyber, not only are they providing an amazing service, but they're also really great people. Barricade Cyber Solutions, did you know we got more gifted subs coming in? Hot Cybercycle with the gifted subs. Thank you so very much. Holla, holla, holla. Hey, Sahib and Emmanuel Tatras. Just a couple of the people picking up Will McDowell. Do say thank you to Cybercycle in chat. Guys, Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and recover from the damage done. Now, cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and send dedicated, hardworking business owners into turmoil. But Barricade Cyber Solutions knows how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents, and they know how to, more importantly, get you recovered from the damage done, all right? So check them out, barricadecyber.com. You can literally, this is their website. You can go there right now and actually get on Eric Taylor's calendar today if you're dealing with an active incident or if you just want to get ahead of the curve and get in front of these things. Real Bilbo with a $5 super chat. Jerry needs a full-time IT tech. Maybe I should move to Charleston. Seriously, I got to tell you guys a couple things really quickly. When we were at Zero Trust World 25 in Orlando last week, Real Bilbo was definitely running IT support for me. And at one point, like literally him and Josh Mason were running IT. At one point, this conversation literally happened. Jerry, why don't you get a cup of coffee and go talk to people over there? We got this over here. Like, you're actually making it harder for us with you touching things. And I'm like, okay. So like, I literally got a cup of coffee and went and talked to people. So this is where I am in my career at this point.
We just become best friends.
All right. Ooh, we got, super chats coming in. Love it, love it, love it. Final thing that I want to talk about. We've been doing this all week with the coffee of the week. Today, Firewall Coffee, I'm running the Command Line Roast. This is a light roast. I'm more of a dark roast guy. I know that more caffeine in the light roast. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like this, honestly, this tastes like you go to like any coffee shop. I miss breakfast joints in New England. New England has breakfast joints, okay? And if you know, you know. George Strasburger knows for sure. But this cup of coffee is fine. It's not my jam, but it's fine. All right. We saw the first timers in chat. We saw the first timers in chat. We're gonna definitely say what's up. So drop a hashtag first timer if it is your first time, and we'll get after it. All right, guys. Oh, Windows key tab will show you your. Nope. Apparently, I do not have Discord on a separate laptop. I honestly don't know why Discord is a hot mess express right now. Angular, so funny. A lot of tech people can't tech. Oh my God, yes, I know. It's so funny. All right, guys, do me a favor. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over all. Let's have an awesome wave. It's Friday. We're off and running. Let's go.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, February 28th, 2025. I'm Steve Prentice. Chinese cyber espionage jumped 150% last year. The Global Threat Report, released yesterday by CrowdStrike, shows a 150% surge in Chinese-backed cyber espionage operations across the world last year, with critical industries seeing up to a 300% spike in targeted attacks. This means the Vault Typhoon and Salt Typhoon campaigns represented just a small fraction of global cyber espionage activity from the country. Highlighting the most targeted sectors as being in finance, media, and manufacturing, CrowdStrike identified 7 new China-related adversaries in 2024 and, quote, claimed to have blocked over 330 cyber intrusion attempts attributed to Chinese hacking groups, end quote. Nakas.
All right. So, CrowdStrike is definitely one of those top tier EDR vendors in the space. EDR, endpoint detection and response, is definitely a super saturated, super crowded place. SentinelOne, CrowdStrike, I guess Microsoft Defender, if you want to throw them in there, are kind of the big dogs. If you go to Black Hat, like CrowdStrike's usually like one of the booths that like when you walk in is like the booth you walk into. Those are very expensive booth spots. I've heard estimates of, $750,000 to $1 million for, basically 2 days of that spot. So just to kind of give perspective on the business of this, but CrowdStrike, because they are deployed in so many places, right? CrowdStrike's got a massive footprint. They get to use all that telemetry, obviously, anonymized in a sense, but they have all this telemetry to be able to write these really, really interesting reports. So when you're looking at CrowdStrike 2025 Global Threat Report, it really is based on a wide corpus of data. Now, what the key observation that they're bringing out here is that there's a massive uptick, 150% uptick in espionage from China. Okay. Honestly, I saw who wrote this in mod chat. DJ BSEC behind the glass said 150% is rookie numbers. Right? You gotta get those big numbers going. I mean, 150%, like, I don't know, like, it's not good. You would like the number to go down, but like 150%, it's like, okay, like, we're all doing things here. The one thing that I would call out really quickly is when you see specifically in cybersecurity a growth or an explosion in a certain area, like like this particular one, there much more Chinese espionage attacks. The question that you should be asking yourself is, was there truly an increase in frequency and volume of attack, or are we just seeing it now, right? Because it's quite possible that this volume of attack was always there and it's been there for years. It's just we didn't have the sensors in place. We weren't looking for it. We weren't doing attribution correctly, and we didn't realize that this was happening. Again, it's probably a mixed bag of a little from column A, a little from column B. Chinese threat actors, if attributed right, I don't want to promote xenophobia or any type of like, any kind of like that. But if it is truly discovered in high confidence attribution to China, this shouldn't come as any surprise that, there was an increase. Volt Typhoon, Salt Typhoon, Flax Typhoon, those 3, I guess, threat actor campaigns, there could be overlap with the actual individuals. They went ham. They went whole hog this year, right? Breaking in and setting up persistence in energy sector, industrial control systems, critical infrastructure, the telecommunications, the top 9 telecom providers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, all Boost, Mint, all of those in there. ISPs, like, network carriers, all up in there. So it was pretty busy. Jen Easterly and Chris Wray, who were at the time the director of CISA and the FBI, respectively, were in front of Congress saying, "Yo, we've got a problem. Like, China's all up in our business right now." So, if you're testifying before Congress, it's not a hunch. Like, you have the receipts Gen Z. You have the receipts to say like, hey, attribution here to them. So what does this mean for us as practitioners? Well, number one, I would recommend downloading this CrowdStrike report. They are going to get your contact information and probably start marketing the hell out of you. So, use an appropriate email address if you want. You could probably find someone posting the PDF of something like this, but definitely run through this. Familiarize yourself. If you're looking to break into the industry, this type of intel is really, really good for you to use in job interviews. If you're a practitioner in the industry, remember, GRC Mafia, you can't secure all the things. You can't reduce all the risk. So you need to make informed decisions on your strategy and like what your architecture looks like and stuff like that. So why not get informed with threat intelligence and be like, well, there's a higher likelihood that we're going to experience this versus that. So let's focus on defending from this versus that. So that's what I would recommend. Some threat trends that we're seeing in 2024. Again, you might feel a little seen with some of these. Explosion of voice phishing attacks. Man, see, this is what I'm talking about right here, okay? 150%, I don't get out of bed, okay? I don't get out of bed for 150%. Voice phishing explosion, 442%. Now you're talking my language. Let's go. This is like a numerical version of an infographic. Let's get up and go. Between the first and second half of 2024, I know there's some instances where you cannot not answer your phone, but right here, this insight, this one insight from the CrowdStrike report is enough to cause me to stop and make a piece of educational content for like multiple pieces of educational content. You ready for this? Number one, educate your support desk, help desk, whatever you guys call it at your organization about this. This is a stone cold hard fact that they are likely to get an uptick in like basically fraudulent support desk calls. So make sure that whatever the workflows are for verification, identification, authentication of people calling in, make sure that those workflows and processes are buttoned up and tight, or else you're going to get the same situation that you had with MGM Resorts in Vegas 2 years ago, where Lapsus Group called help desk and we were able to get credentials changed and then friggin' mowed through the infrastructure with those creds. Support desk. Number two, HR. There's certain units in your business that cannot not answer the phone. Okay. HR, they got to answer the phone, right? Well, in most instances. Help desk, answer the phone. Executives, salespeople. Oh my God. You think a sales girl or a sales guy or sales lady, I don't know if saying girl's like considered not cool anymore, but like a sales female or a sales male, like you think they're not going to answer the phone? If you're commission based, that phone call could be money for you. They're going to answer it 100 out of 100 times. So just make them aware of this massive uptick. I want to get back onto the stories, but just these insights are massively valuable for you to inform yourself on your strategy for 2025. Like literally, here's my thing. Ready? If you're like, oh, I'm good. I've worked in the industry for 20 years and like, I know what's good. I don't need a report to tell me what's up. That is that is so small-minded and like Dunning-Kruger-esque. Like intel is intel. Use it to make better choices. Okay, let's keep going.
Sony warns of U.S. falling behind adversaries in cyberspace. The former leader of Cyber Command and the National Security Agency, speaking at the District Con Cybersecurity Conference in Washington, D.C., retired General Paul Nakasone pointed to incidents like the recent China-led breaches of U.S. telecommunications companies and ransomware attacks against U.S. targets, and that they illustrate, quote, the fact that we are unable to secure our networks, the fact that we are unable to leverage the software that's being provided today, the fact we have adversaries that continue to maintain this capability, end quote. He agrees with bipartisan calls in Congress for a more aggressive U.S. stance in cybersecurity, including the use of AI, but also stressed the need for more hiring.
All right, let's see. Paul Nakasone, Yeah, U.S. falling behind enemies in cyberspace. DJ Bsex thinking that he said this once before. Yeah, I mean, he's under a new administration, right? So you do want to. Here's a pro tip: whether it's the president of the United States or it's the new CIO, like if you've been banging the drum on something and it never really took traction because whoever your boss was or whoever was in charge never really saw it as like a thing of importance, and then they hire someone new, get your drum out, oil that skin up, and give it a good beat. I feel like there's a lot of like I'm not trying to be innuendos here, but I felt like that actually kind of went sideways there. So anyways, my point is when there's new ears, sometimes you want to reiterate the messaging that you've already been saying. It seems like Paul Nakasone is still doing that right here. Let's see. United States is falling behind. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, I hate this, how that's doing that. Here is the thing. I will tell you this, okay, really quickly. If you're interested, where I'm coming up with this concept, right, that I'm about to drop on you is from here. This is simplycyber.io books. It's my curated list of books I recommend people read, and it's managed by the librarian, aka Christina Paulika. So thank you, Christina. Battlefield Cyber, this book right here, how China and the subheading is how China and Russia are undermining our democracy and national security. Obviously, this book does have a certain perspective, worldview associated with it, but what is wildly interesting is that this is a fact, not hyperbolic. About 15 years ago, China dramatically reduced their foot soldier head count of their military capability and dramatically increased their cyber soldier capability, right? 15 years ago. You can't turn a cruise ship around on a dime. It takes a few minutes to turn a cruise ship around. I've heard. I've never been on a cruise ship. But now that they've had 15 years, you look at things like this, okay? And it makes sense. They made a strategic investment to dramatically increase their cyber capability, looking at the landscape of how nation state power would be influenced in 2025. And now they're kind of, I guess, reaping the benefits. Paul Nakasone, retired general and, cyber command leader, is saying we're way behind. So this problem is a problem, and it's not one that we can really turn around instantly. But it is interesting to point out what's going on. Now, the NSA has long had a really great cyber capability used for intelligence gathering. There is U.S. Cyber Command. There has been some discussion around a new branch of the military called Cyber Force or whatever. I forget what the term was, but basically like Marines, Navy, Army, cyber, they talked about that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bureaucracy and political ties associated with that. A lot of people would have to give up power, and people in power do not like to give up power. So I don't think a cyber military force is coming anytime soon. But Nakasone is pointing out, basically, this is what's up. So we will see what will happen. This unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, this story has really no bearing on us day in and day out as far as practitioners go to defend our organization. I will say, I do feel like I don't remember what military branch, okay? And it wasn't the United States. I think it was a different country, but there was a story a couple weeks ago, and please hook me up, y'all, if you could. A couple weeks ago, there was a story about a nation's military allowing individuals who wanted to become cyber warriors to skip boot camp. I don't remember what all the details, but it just happened a couple weeks ago. So, there is a push to dramatically increase and basically reduce the burden and going to boot camp could be scary to people. Reduce the burden of people getting into the military in order to become cyber warriors, keyboard cowboys, if you will. So, yeah, this, like, literally this story or this statement should come as no surprise. All you have to do is look at the global threat landscape and realize, oh, it was the UK quiet gamer. Yeah, let's take a look at this. UK military bypass boot camp cyber warrior or whatever. I don't even know this is right. Yeah, here it is. This is from February 10th, 2025. Thank you. British military drops basic training to fast track recruits for cyber warriors. So this is the way the UK is doing it. Maybe the United States needs to do it, but at the end of the day, the head of, the former head of the NSA, like, the guy's got more ribbons on his chest. Look at this guy. He's got more ribbons on his chest than I have chest. Okay. This guy's got some clout. 4-star general. They don't just give stars out like that. Last time I checked, you don't go down to, you don't go down to Costco and get a pallet of general stars and throw them on. You do have to earn them. So this guy's clearly knows what the hell he's talking about. Sorry, Kennedy. So anyways, got to make changes, man.
PolarEdge Botnet exploits Cisco, ASUS, QNAP, and Synology. According to French cybersecurity company Sequoia, Sekoia, this is a new malware campaign which targets edge devices from Cisco, ASUS, QNAP, and Synology to pull them into a botnet named PolarEdge as one word, POLAREDGE. It has been operating since at least the end of 2023. The campaign leverages an unpatched end-of-life CVE-numbered critical security flaw that impacts Cisco small business routers that could result in arbitrary command execution on susceptible devices. The vulnerability is said to have been used to deliver a TLS backdoor that incorporates the ability to listen for incoming client connections and execute commands.
All right, still trying to solve the Discord issue up in here. All right, PolarEdge botnet. So botnets are still a thing in 2025. Mirai's entered the chat. Exploiting Cisco, ASUS, QNAP, Synology. You have my attention. I am a Synology user. Just as a pro tip, DJ BSEC turned me on to Synology, and one of the best wingman moves ever. It gave me the old elbow in the ribs and said, "Hey, check out Synology over by the bar." And I'm like, "Hey, Synology, how you doing?" Right? And we've been together ever since. Okay, love myself some Synology. All right, so let's look at how this thing works out. Hold on. I always, for no reason, I always like to look at like what the screenshot looks like, because usually it's a bunch of like nonsense. And let's see what this thing is. This is BusyBox. BusyBox is like a pared down version of Linux that runs on IoT devices typically. So I'll give you the nod really quickly. Like this screenshot does somewhat matter. So it's making a command to a web server, and it's issuing some BusyBox commands, I guess, on the web server. And it's all right, I'm not going to be able to figure that out right here. Oh, ooh, it does a bunch of crap, and then it deletes the whole hard drive. You see this last command here, rm-rf? If you want to be a peckerhead, I don't know if anyone ever did this when they were a punk kid, but I remember going to like Radio Shack because I thought I was so elite. Going to Radio Shack when I was like 12 or 14 and like getting on the demo Hewlett-Packard machine, getting into the terminal shell and just wreaking havoc on it. Like a jerk. Don't be like me, okay? I didn't watch enough G.I. Joe when I was young and learn to not be like Cobra. Okay, let's see. Malware campaign targeting edge devices. Edge meaning internet-facing devices. So anything facing the internet, you got to make sure that you button it up. Okay, here we go. It's leveraging CVE 2023-20118. So this is a 2-year-old bug. Let's do this really quickly. We'll go to DJ BSEC, throw this in, this 2-year-old bug, and get some results. While that's queuing up, let's do this. All right, so Cisco small business devices, routers are what is kind of in scope here. The routers are not going to get patched, so you're not going to be able to...
you gotta patch it.
You're not going to be able to patch it because this one is end of life. Again, let me see here. Here's the TLDR, okay? Chances are, here's the thing. Chances are, if you're running an end-of-life Cisco small business service router, chances are you aren't doing, you don't have a SIM set up. You're not you don't have detection engineers. You're not threat modeling. You're not you basically set this thing up and like packets are flowing and you're like thumbs up. And the last thing that you're thinking about is replacing end-of-life technology. So, it is what it is. Let's take a look at this really quickly. So, according to the EPSS score, you can see here, this is DJ Bisek's tool that he built for the benefit of everybody. I use this tool often. I'm going to drop a link in chat, EPSS tool. All right. There is a 0.07% chance that you, Daniel Lowry, will experience this compromise in the next 30 days. So, having said that, your internet-facing assets, they can be discovered quite easily with Shodan, and it's in the news, right? So there will be an uptick in activity, but the chances are kind of low that it will hit you. The percentile is like of all the vulnerabilities in the EPSS database, which is like hundreds of thousands. This one falls into like the 33 percentile as far as how bad is it. Again, the TLDR for me as a practitioner, whether you're an MSP servicing a bunch of small clients or small businesses, or you're running your own little business, or you're a K through 12 school or something like that, the TLDR is you don't need to run out right now and shut this thing down. You don't have to go full John Taffer on this thing and shut it down. But you do need to get in front of this and say, yo, this thing's end of life. We need budget to replace this. Like, let me see this really quickly. What's a replacement upgrade for this thing? DJ Bisek, can you apply your big brain network engineering skills? Can you just give me a make or model number that would be appropriate for replacing this Cisco small business? Because I want to show you how much budget you would even need to ask for. You really don't need to ask for a ton of budget. I bet you're going to be able to replace this thing for like, if I'm going to put a swag on there, FortiGate, I don't know about promoting FortiGate. All right. I do know Real Bilbo and Eric Taylor are big FortiGate people. Let's see. FortiGate 60F. Okay. This is just a quick option. Okay. Look at this. FortiGate's, I was going to say $1,000. This thing, you can buy this right now for $517. Okay. Again, you can add different packages, maintenance, all this other crap, okay? But you know what I mean? There's options. So here's what I'm saying. You're not going to your business and saying, "Hey, can I have $250,000 for like a Gigamon super firewall, double redundancy, all this." You're like, "Hey, can I have $1,000 please to replace our end of life software or our end of life hardware that is putting us at risk? For $1,000, I can save this business from a $200,000 incident. Give me $1,000, right? That's all you have to do. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to go to the business. This is what you absolutely do not want to do, okay? You do not want to go to the business and say, "Hey, we're running an end-of-life piece of hardware and we need to replace it." You don't want to say that, okay? If you're going to bring this problem, you've got to bring two solutions at minimum. My favorite thing to do is to bring 3 solutions. Okay, this is just a little insight. I guess this is a Jerry Guy day. Hold on one second. what I like to do is bring 3 solutions. One that I want to do, and I make that one, I spray perfume on that one. I make it look really nice. It's got all the right wording. Everything's cool. I bring one that is like expensive and will do all the things, but like it's kind of a downside that it's expensive. And then I bring an alternative that like I would want to do, but it's not my favorite one. And I don't try to over embellish that one. And then here's 3 options. And then I talk up the one I really want. And then I make the other 2 available. And then I ask for input. Why don't you have some buy-in on this decision? And then ultimately, once someone here's the thing, when the business gets buy-in, when they are part of the decision, well then, wheels move, things get greased, checks get cut. So just saying. All right.
Southern Water says Black Basta ransomware attack cost £4.5 million in expenses. Following up on a story we covered this time last year, UK-based water utility Southern Water now says the ransomware attack it suffered in late January of 2024 incurred costs of £4.5 million, and that is roughly $5.7 million. Southern Water is a private company that provides water and wastewater to customers in some southern counties in England. This number mostly represents restoration and analysis costs. A further analysis of leaked internal chat logs from the Black Basta group who conducted the attack appear to show that a ransom has been paid, although representatives from the utility have not clarified this.
All right. Yeah, so, I guess it's worth pointing out when you suffer a ransomware attack, and Eric Taylor can definitely shed light on this since he regularly works with businesses that are facing cyber attacks, again, at Barricade Cyber. That's Eric Taylor, barricadecyber.com. Whether it's Akira, Monty, Ransom Hub. This company, private utility, water, so critical infrastructure, and Justin Gold probably just had like a cold shiver run through his body hearing water. But they got hit with Black Basta. Black Basta is super effective. I want you to know that if say the ransom's $200,000, your exposure for a ransomware attack is not $200,000. You have lost business. You have downtime. You have reputational harm potentially. You have the cost of hiring professional services people like Eric Taylor and Barricade Cyber to come in. You have, you might have to replace hardware, right? You definitely are going to have to invest in shoring up whatever it was that the threat actor initially infected you with, or else you run the risk of having them come back. That doesn't happen as often, but it's not uncommon for a threat actor to pop you, ransom you, and then come back like 3 months later and do it again because you didn't close the door that they walked through the first time. And they're perfectly fine with that. To the tune of £4.5 million. Again, they did the math for the USD conversion. Just for the sake of argument, let's say $4 million USD. No business wants to eat $4 million, especially manufacturing, which this is not manufacturing, but manufacturing is basically one of the industries that gets hit the hardest with ransomware, like the most frequent. And if you did not know, manufacturing's margins are super razor thin. Manufacturing typically runs, from what I've seen, like 1 to 3% profit margins, which is pretty lean. So they can't just eat a $4 million hit, depending on the size of the business. You see what I'm saying? So use this as an opportunity to continue to educate your end users and continue to basically do tabletop exercises and get funded for your information security program. There's a lot of great controls in 2025 to mitigate the risk of ransomware, not fully stop it, but you can stop the spread. You can increase the frequency of being able to recover, or not the frequency, the time to recover. So there's a whole lot of stuff, but yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
Thanks to today's episode's sponsor, Conveyor. Let me guess, another security questionnaire just landed in your inbox, which means all the follow-up tasks you don't have time for are close behind. So what are you going to do? Or here's a better question. What would Sue do? Sue is Conveyor's new AI agent for customer trust. She handles the entire security review process, like answering every customer request for a SOC 2 from sales, completing every questionnaire, or executing every communications and coordination task in between. No more manual work, just a quick review when she's done. Ready to let Sue take the reins? Learn more at conveyor.com. That is www.conveyor.com.
All right. All right, guys, we are running behind. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So we are going to speed run the back half of the show because we have Friday panel jaw jacking today. So shout out to the stream sponsors, Barricade Cyber, Antisyphon, Flare, ThreatLocker. Thank you so very much. Every single day of the week has a special segment, and Fridays is James McQuiggan's Joke of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, James McQuiggan wants you to know what happened when the microscope crashed into the telescope. If you guys didn't see this in the news, there was a telescope that got swung around and hit a microscope. It was insane. But did you know that they kaleidoscoped? All right. Did you know that it's illegal to LOL in Hawaii? Did you know that it's illegal to LOL in Hawaii? I guess apparently the Hawaiian government has said that you're only permitted aloha. Aloha. I like that one, James McQuiggan. Took me a second. All right. Hey, who can drink 2 gallons of gasoline without getting sick? So I don't read these in advance either. Who can drink 2 gallons of gasoline without getting sick? Jerry can. Jerry can? Jerry can? Is that? I don't get it. Is a Jerry a can? Is that a nickname for a gas can? I don't know. Unless he's talking about coffee. All right. Hey, James McQuiggan with the potpourri jokes of the week. Thank you so very much, James McQuiggan. Let's jump to the laws. Alpha Sierra, get us ready. 3, 2. All right, let's finish strong, y'all. Speed running.
Karen Evans becomes Executive Assistant Director for Cybersecurity at CISA. In further government administration news, this appointment makes Evans the leader of the cybersecurity half of CISA. She has most recently been Managing Director at the Cyber Readiness Institute, but has also served as Chief Information Officer of the Homeland Security Department, Assistant Secretary for Cybersecurity, Energy Security and Emergency Response at the Energy Department, and the Administrator of E-Government and Information Technology at the Office of Management and Budget. Cleveland Municipal.
All right. So we've got someone in position to be in charge of cyber at CISA. Okay, so she's not the director of CISA. She's not the Jen Easterly replacement, but she is focused on the cybersecurity side of CISA. She's the executive assistant director. That sounds like an office, like Dwight title, but she's clearly a veteran of the federal federal space, right? So she's been around, and she's going to be leading CISA's mission to protect and strengthen federal civilian agencies and the nation's critical infrastructure. You know, a lot of the rhetoric has been around that CISA's mission has gotten too wide and that the current administration is going to tighten it up. Okay. But, you know, now that we've got someone in charge of cyber, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously, CISA's responsible for the known exploited vulnerability catalog, a couple other, cyber services, right? You can do you can request like vulnerability scans, you can request assistance from them. And she's been a CIO. So, you know, like she's clearly like leadership and she's got management written all over her. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes. I hope for the best. I'm glad someone's got the position.
Court closed for third straight day due to cyber incident. In this latest in a string of municipality-level attacks, the Cleveland Municipal Court remains closed, as I said, for the third straight day. In a notification on its Facebook page, the court says that it has not yet confirmed the nature and scope of the attack and that, quote, all internal systems and software platforms will be shut down until further notice, end quote. Software...
All right, cyber incident, quote unquote. That ransomware. Okay, like let's call it for what it is. Ransomware shuts down Cleveland Municipal Court again. Municipality, state, and local government entities are juicy targets for threat actors. Typically, I've said it before. You got to remember, like governments, whether it's local government, state government, they're nonprofits. They're not designed to make money. They're taxing their citizens in order to have enough money to run the initiatives for the local or state, municipality, the county, whatever. And that's it. So they typically don't have extra money to blow on extra resources for like IT and stuff like that. So it's usually like, you know, I've said it before, a lot of times it's kind of like stitching together a pork chop to a chicken wing to make a meal when you're working in these environments. So, you know, basically Cleveland got hit. Cleveland's had a tough go of it, huh? For real. Between the Browns and, LeBron coming and going and stuff like that. You guys had a tough go, but whatever. The court system's offline. You know, it's not great. Obviously, court systems are used not just for like criminal justice being served, but also like, let's say you're trying to like adopt, your child, or you're trying to get married or divorced or whatever. Like, some of these more kind of normal day in, day out activities are getting impacted. So not good. Yeah, you could see here, Quillen ransomware, Quillen. I don't even know how to claim. I don't know how to say that. Oh, these guys hit Connecticut. Yeah. So the story just goes in and shows you a whole bunch of different municipalities getting hit with it. I hate when these stories do this. Like, in order to like pad the word count, they just start throwing in a bunch of extra information that is unrelated to the story. Here's the deal. If you work in state or local municipalities, you really are a higher likelihood target for ransomware. So just be aware of that. I mean, again, I feel like I should just make a video where I can just hit the play button and try to sort out how Discord's broken right now. That just says like, hey, state and local, K through 12, you're probably going to get slapped in the face. You should be doing tabletop exercises. You should be doing education for your end user awareness and stuff like that, and practicing. Hold on, Fly Geek, what's the announcement here? Hold on. People are saying shout out to Fly Geek. I don't have mod chat, which sucks. Okay, so Deb and Grady did a 20-month thing for Fly Geek new role. You know what? I can't see it either. Add Fly Geek if you want to share it in chat again. We can do that. But Fly Geek, congratulations.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Vulnerabilities take almost 9 months to patch. A State of Software Security report released by Vericode shows the average fixed time for software security vulnerabilities has, quote, risen to 8.5 months, a 47% increase over the past 5 years, end quote. This figure is also 327% higher than 15 years ago, largely as a result of increased reliance on third-party code and use of AI-generated code. Furthermore, the report says, quote, half of all organizations have critical security debt, defined as accumulated high-severity vulnerabilities left open for longer than a year, and 70% of this critical security debt comes from third-party code and the software supply chain, end quote.
Yeah, okay. So, to all you vulnerability management analysts out there, you know, I feel for you. I do. Okay. Yeah, 100%. Technical debt is a term used in the industry. Thanks, Eric Taylor. Technical debt. Actually, this is a great opportunity to talk about technical debt. So, software vulnerabilities take almost 9 months to patch. Like when you get an update on your iPhone and you hit patch and it patches and you're like, look at me. I patched my vulnerabilities like within minutes. I'm the best, right? That's fine. But when you have even 500 endpoints in your environment, right? Like not all of them can take all the patches. Sometimes patches break things. Sometimes the patch isn't available or it doesn't run on the current version you have or whatever. Or the machine is like off the network and it hasn't checked in with the mothership, right? So there's a lot of different reasons. Honestly, when it says almost 9 months, like some vulnerabilities never get patched. Okay. So technical debt is basically where you're taking on technology into your environment and you're not really, how do I put this? Like tech debt is where you have systems in your environment that you continue to run, you continue to have, and they become legacy. They're still there. You can't get off of them for whatever reason. Sometimes it's like a mission critical business application. Sometimes it's built into some workflow. Sometimes they go end of life and you don't have budget to replace it. Whatever it is, tech debt is a real thing. And I want to tell you, we're trying to stay on time, so I won't go into my full rant about this, but just be aware that like anytime someone has a great idea that's going to save the business money, right? You got to think through. You should be the wet blanket in the meeting where you're like, okay, like that's a great idea. I'm glad it's going to save us money. Like, is this a stopgap or is this a long-term play? No. It's just a stopgap until we can get budget. That's fine. Okay. So can we all agree around the table that like this thing will be shut down by December 2025? Like be the wet blanket, because what will happen is I've seen this so many friggin' times. Now I'm going to get mad. I've seen this so many times. You've got some like, hot Johnny on the spot who's like, oh, wait a minute. 30 grand for that application? Bro, I can write a Microsoft Access database that can do that for free. And the business is like, doing, like eggplant. And they're like, let's go. That Johnny's going to save us 30 grand. And then they're like, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. And then you write this app and it's awesome. It does exactly what Johnny said it was going to do. And you got 30 grand saved, which by the way, they're not going to give you a bonus or anything. Like DJ B-Sec and I were talking about this before the show. But now you've got this thing, right? Now this Access database front end web app, little, cobbled together thing becomes mission critical. No one's patching it. No one's fixing it. Half the business doesn't even know it exists. And then Johnny gets a job somewhere else and no one even knows how this thing works. And guess what? You've got this like special manufactured custom cog in your machine and you can't take the friggin' cog out because it'll break everything. And now your $30,000 fix is screwed your whole business over. And you're just screwed. Right? I've seen it time and time again. It is the biggest penny wise, pound foolish thing I've seen. I've seen it time and time again because everybody in that meeting, back in January of 2023 was like, oh, we got this big problem. How are we going to solve it? And someone's like, I could solve it for $0. And everybody's like, oh my God, you're the best. And then they're like, Jerry, why are you such a peckerhead? Like, why are you always raining on people's parades when they bring in all these solutions? And I'm like, because I've seen it a million times and I've seen it screw everything up. So that's why I'm doing it. And they're like, ugh.
Crypto analysts stunned by Bybit laundering speed. Following up on one of the biggest stories of this week, the $1.46 billion Ethereum theft conducted by the Lazarus Group has sent shockwaves through the cybercrime community, with experts marveling at the group's, quote, unprecedented speed and scale in laundering the stolen funds, end quote, along with its increased capability to conduct these brazen attacks. Ari Redboard, global head of policy at TRM Labs, said in an email to Cyberscoop, quote, "Within 2 days of the attack, the group funneled $160 million through illicit channels. Quote, an amount that would have been unimaginable to move this quickly just a year ago," end quote. He added, quote, "This raises alarming questions about whether North Korea's laundering capacity has expanded, since criminal financial networks have never moved this quickly to process funds before," end quote.
Well, I mean, I guess way to go, Lazarus Group. I mean, I'm not supporting cybercrime or threat actor behavior, but like, bro, Lazarus has been stealing cryptocurrency for years. So yeah, I'm sure that they looked at their ability to launder the money after they steal it. Like stealing crypto money, Lazarus has got that figured out. Laundering it and making it, useful and have utility for them after they steal it, that's where they've had their biggest challenge. Sounds like they've kind of like solved that problem. So check this out. This is actually interesting. Remember, they stole $1.46 billion like last week. And then I actually shared this with my students. I love this. Lazarus Bounty, Bybit, the company that got robbed, has actually set up a bounty where they're offering a piece of the pie, if you will. 12 people have already made $4.2 million collectively across the 12 people as part of this campaign. And you can see they've got all the information, tracking all the wallets. This person right here, wow, look at this. This Manto contributor was able to get $41 million frozen and make $2 million in bounty. So very, very cool. So, I mean, you can make some money on this. Again, I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but Lazarus is moving quickly. And for the fact that they've already been able to launder $160 million out, and that's already more than they made from the Bangladesh bank heist. They made about $82 million with the Bangladesh bank heist. So they've already doubled the, I guess, output of the effectiveness of the robbery, if you will, from that really, really unbelievable Bangladesh bank heist. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I find this one particularly interesting. Like the way that they did the hack was interesting, but the way that they're handling it post-hack, yeah, you can see here, post-hack laundering is really, really interesting. And honestly, I think whatever North Korea does here will be a massive wake-up call and an opportunity for good people, right? Like you and I, and like the Secret Service in the United States, the IRS, the FBI, and other international law enforcement groups that are responsible for choking the financials of criminal syndicates. It'll be interesting to do a postmortem on how Lazarus Group is doing this so quickly, so we can basically take care of it and get after it. All right, let's go. I think that's it, right, for the stories. See, we did speed run it. Winning. All right, guys. Holla, holla, holla. I do want to say thank you all so very much. Remember, again, I want to say shout out to Dan Reardon, Tom Marquette, and Brent Book for being the top 3 finishers in the Meta CTF. With Dan Reardon taking the W. If you'd like to participate in the CTF for March, there will be information provided on the Discord server. Poner Joe, Pwnerjoe, Poner Joe is a member in the Discord community he's the liaison for the CTFs. If you never done a CTF before, this is a perfect onboarding experience for you. It's designed intentionally for that reason. That's why we want to promote it and get people comfortable with CTFs and expanding their skills. Don't go anywhere, folks, because we are going to be pivoting to jaw jacking. This is a 30-minute AMA. Centennial Gray, I'll answer that question in just a second. We usually go long on the jaw jacking on Fridays. I won't be able to stay. I have a 9:30 meeting, but Daniel Lowry, Daniel Lowry, my friend Daniel Lowry, IRL, YouTube. This guy right here. Look at this guy. 13,000 subs, like an absolute boss. He is going to be going live. Usually he goes live on Fridays at 10 a.m. Look at this guy. Friday, today, 10 a.m. Definitely worth attending. He's in chat right now. Great guy. It'll just be a continuation of the AMA. Don't go anywhere. If you got to run, have a great weekend, everybody. Otherwise, I'll see you in just a hot minute. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber, December 28th, episode 824 or 823. Yeah. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking. All right, what's up, everybody? It looks like it's just me right now on the Jawjacking, which is totally cool. Again, I've been having some issues with Discord this morning. Literally, it's like a full frame. I can't even Alt-Tab from it. I've tried closing it and opening it. I've tried different desktop. I don't know what the heck's going on. It's very, very weird. Okay, so first question that came into chat, and mods, for the mod team, I can't see mod chat right now, but I will just say, mods, if somebody wants to jump in to the panel, please provide them the link. I'll actually, hold on one second. I'm going to drop the link in mod chat. Just give me a second, everybody, because it's very janky how I have to do this. Oh, Eric Taylor already did it. Oh, hold on. I can see mod chat and the stream now. Very cool. All right. Okay, so the first question was from Centennial Low, I think, or Centennial Gray. What was the book I mentioned about fraud? Now, I don't think I mentioned it today, but I love this book. Principles of Fraud Accounting. Jim Lund knows this book. Kimberly Can Fix It knows this book. And Kimberly Can Fix It. Kimberly Can Fix It has given me a different version of this book that's like cheaper. I think it's by a guy named Joseph Wells. Yeah, here it is. I love this book. Okay. Principles of Fraud Examination. This book is aces. I love it. Let me show you why. See if I can show you. There's a taxonomy in here. I might even run into the house and grab the book. If there was like a full panel, I would. But look at this. So you see how this taxonomy looks? The book, this is like basically every way to commit financial fraud at a business. Okay. Now, it's not supposed to be a how-to book for you, right? This isn't how to commit crime. But to me, it's fascinating because it shows you every single way to commit crime. And then the best part is the American Association of like fraud examiners, they mail in fraud that they've discovered. So the book is just every single way to commit fraud. And there's 3 or 4 use cases showing you how to commit fraud. Like literally use cases of where real people did the same exact thing in a real business. So for me, I like to see it in practice and understand and appreciate how the fraud was committed. And that book, that's what it does. It's just a page turner, honestly. I love it. All right. Good question. Looks like we've got some, yes, we do. All right. So we do have a panel member for the Jawjacking. Hey, really quickly. The Principles of Fraud Examination. This is what I want to show you. Kimberly Can Fix It points out this book. And I think you all can see it. Yeah. This book right here, Corporate Fraud Handbook. Now, the textbook that I showed you is like $150 because it's like a textbook for a course. This is supposed to be the same thing, but it's $70. So if you're interested in just getting the knowledge, here, I'll drop a link to it. Fraud book. You could save 50% off and get the same thing, right? Okay. All right, guys, I want to say what's up to the, let me change my video here. We're about to go panel. Yes, sir. I love it. All right, guys, you know him as a regular on the Friday Jawjacking panel. He is a SOC manager, does a lot of hiring, and he's a great community member. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fleetus Poston, please put your hands together. Fleetus, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you too. All right, Fleetus, are you a coffee drinker?
I am. Got it right here.
Oh my goodness, what kind of coffee you like drinking?
Usually a dark roast, French roast, black, no sugar, no cream, straight up.
Oh my God, be still my heart. Fleetus Poston and I are brothers from another mother. So I'm also a dark roast. I used to drink it with cream and sugar, and then like in my 30s I got rid of the cream, and then in my 40s I got rid of sugar, and now I'm just like, give it to me black. And I'm also a dark roast, French roast guy. I did the Firewall Coffee Challenge this week. I went from dark to light roast, kind of like punishing myself slowly throughout the week. Question in chat was, which one did I like the best? I whatever Tuesday was a dark roast that kind of had a full body. For me, I drink coffee very much the same way I drink beer. I'm not drinking coffee for the caffeine, just like I'm not drinking beer to get hammered. I like enjoy it. And the dark roast has less caffeine, but it's like bigger, bolder flavors. And that's what I like. So whatever the Tuesday one is, I'm going to try to drink next week and give a full disposition. But Fleetus, do you have, I know you like a style. Is there a particular, like, do you just always kind of get the same bean?
Not always. So I'll try something local when I travel. I grind my own. I buy Black Rifle. I bought Starbucks. I bought a few different ones just to mix it up.
All right. I love it. People in chat, I love black coffee. Dream Logic. Real Bilbo says that we grew up in our 40s because we're drinking it black. I honestly think, like, based on anecdotal evidence, I really feel like it's a common transition to go from like drinking it like it's candy to going full black. I don't know if it's a cyber thing or if it's an old person thing, but like most people I know that are like my peers drink black coffee. It's what you do.
Yeah, it's easier. I don't feel bad drinking. I won't tell you how many ounces per day when it's black. So
yeah, I probably drink too much coffee as well, but that's okay.
For some of you know, I gave a detox end of January, the first part of February, just to cleanse out, and it was interesting to see how much I missed it and how much I was actually drinking it. It was my crutch, just a crutch to go to.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. I personally, again, drop your questions in chat if you have cybersecurity questions. We're definitely here to answer them, but pending questions, we're gonna answer a little bit. Daniel Lowry says everything else is a coffee flavored milkshake. What I will say is there's been stories. So what's her name? Shirley Temple, right? If you don't know, because you're whatever, too young or international, whatever. Shirley Temple was like the OG child actor, right? She came up in Hollywood and she was like very young. So she was like all the things that go wrong with child actors. And there's stories that like she would be given like uppers to be like on, and then like given down, like drugs, downers to like put her down to sleep and stuff like that. So she got onto these like drugs basically. And I honestly feel like, not that I'm like doing drugs, obviously, but like I feel like I wake up kind of groggy or whatever, and coffee is like the fuel that lights my fuse to like go. Like go 0 to 60 with that. And so that's how I see coffee. I enjoy the taste of it, but it's also something that I find helps me be more productive, I guess. So I don't know, Fleetus, why do you drink coffee?
It's sadly, I just have to have a drink in my hand. You wouldn't imagine. I have a water, I have a sweet tea, I have a soda, and I have coffee on my desk. I always have some kind of beverage in front of me. So coffee is just the easiest because it's calorie free when it's black or low calorie.
There you go. We got a lot of coffee talk in here. Tech Ricky talking about straight black coffee, 4 calories per cup. I honestly think you can drink coffee during fasting, right? Like if you're fasting, you can drink coffee without, crap in it.
For the most part, yes. It's just water. It's dark.
All right. We got some pinned comments coming in. Here we go. Bruise and Hacks, my Kia Ora. Where is SC Cole's wrecking ball? He said, SC Cole 07, I'm starting my first job in IT next week as an IT governance specialist. Well, here you go.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Nice job, SC Cole, or S Cole 07. Definitely love that. Easy does it. MSSP versus internal SOC. More breadth of experience in MSSP, but depth, it seems like internal. What's better, or should you do one or the other? I have opinions on this one. Fleetus, you basically work in this space, so I'll defer to you first, and then I'll give my takes on it.
So our standard answer, it depends. What is the skill
Right.
set internally? What is your user base? What is your endpoint count? What type of technologies? Are you hybrid? Are you cloud? Do you have the skill sets? Do you have the knowledge? And then what resources are you given from a budgetary point to put the proper tools in place? If you don't have all those or you want to augment, then yes, having a hybrid where you have one or two analysts internally and then you hire an MSP or MSSP, or you just go straight to an MDR, managed detection and response.
There you go. I hope that answers your question. I also would say easy does it. Like, I guess from the CISO perspective here now, if I'm looking at funding SecOps, basically, right? Here are my things. One, an MDR, right? An MDR is going to be cheaper than hiring a SOC team, right? A SOC team, though, is going to be internal. They're going to know your users. They're going to know your tech stacks. They're going to know where the bodies are buried. They're going to know kind of the nuances and idiosyncrasies of your environment, which is invaluable. So there is value in that, but then you also have turnover and you're having to hire and fire and performance reviews versus MDR, which is basically just a not turnkey solution, but like there's a lot of like headache from a management perspective you don't have to deal with MDR. But I would also say a lot of MDRs, if you don't do it right, they just like throw alerts over the fence to you, which is not valuable. Like, I'm hiring you to handle this crap, not to tell me bad's happening. Like, I know bad's happening. So what I would say is, like, long-term, if you're growing an information security program, I would start with MDR and try to like empower them to take action on really critical things. And then as you grow the program, try to get internal staff, at least like one person on board, and then have them be the liaise to the MDR provider and kind of figure out what's going on, and then slowly migrate, if you can, to an internal solution. That's what I feel like that's the CISO kind of perspective. And then, obviously Fleetus is given like the practitioner one. Go ahead.
One more. If you are global or multi-time zone, it might make more sense to have an MSSP. It gives you nights and weekends, it gives you holiday coverage, and it gives the staffing who are working, let's just say in the UK or Asia, or if you have East Coast versus West Coast, you can follow the sun with an MSSP. Easier and cheaper.
Definitely a good point. With internal SOC, I mean, everybody gets off at the same time. You can have overnight, but like it's dodgy.
I've ran where we've had a call out. So highs and criticals will page, lows, mediums sit in the queue. So you can do that and have like a 12-hour shift where you have people roll in from 7 to 9 and get off between 5 and 8. And that way you have a 10 to 12-hour coverage if you want to do an internal only. And then you just do a page out overnight.
Yeah. So there's a lot to consider. So easy does it. Your question's great. And I hope people in chat appreciate that that's not just go with option A and that's it. There's like when Fleetus says it depends, there are a lot of variables in that depends. Next question. Cam Godet says, if you had to procrastinate, what part of AI do you think will move into or automate roles in GRC? Oh, prognosticate, not procrastinate. What part of AI do you think will move into or automate roles in GRC or SOC? I'll tell you what, Fleetus, you do the SOC one, I'll do the GRC one.
Okay. So SOC, I've mentioned it before. This is your knowledge base articles. If I can write policies and procedures and playbooks and runbooks and automate them into a machine learning, I'm going to go ML. That's already in your security tools. That's where AI is based on. The more machine learning I can put into play, the lower level hanging fruit of running an IP through an engine and getting a detection can be automated versus having an analyst scrape the IP, put it into whatever tool they're using, and then letting the SOAR, which is your security and orchestration automation response. That's where it's going to go into your SOAR, your XDRs, using acronyms is where AI is going to help. But it's already been doing it. So ML's there already. It's just putting more generative AI knowledge based on what you train it on. So if you give it your runbooks, your playbooks, or your KT, your knowledge articles.
There you go. Perfect. So from GRC, I mean, we're already seeing a lot of these like third-party vendor questionnaire AI solutions. I think that's a lot of like magic beans that you're buying from Jack and the Beanstalk, honestly. But I would see it more, or where I would like to see AI is around better, quicker, and informed on risk and threat landscape. So like if you have, like, let's say you document like what your current exposure is, like your internal like risk register, if you get wicked formal, or just kind of a lay of the land of where your gaps are and stuff like that. AI could be like constantly digesting threat intelligence and adjusting based on the threat intelligence, like where your risks are. So instead of, basically, if you're going to do like an enterprise risk assessment, it can take months, and then you identify where your biggest gaps are, and then you kind of take action on those. With AI, I could see it being much faster. So not to say you're tactically going to just like shut down a project and pivot to another project because of what AI is telling you. But let's say that like you come in and there's like a major uptick in like a vulnerability with a high EPSS score, and there's active intel saying that it's being exploited, and a misconfiguration happened recently, and you've got some exposure, like getting that insight and intel to come in and basically be informed to like, oh shit, I need to tell like the network team like about this. This is important. Like I see value in that, like almost like quicker, just-in-time intelligence to be able to make decisions. That's where I see it for the GRC people.
One other thing too for you, report writing. Take your have your scribe put bulleted points and let AI help you expand on those bulleted points, massage them, and then quickly give that readout in the event of an incident response or incident management engagement where you're having to do shift change because it's rolling.
Yeah,
that's another way that AI is going to help, is automating.
That's actually like a use case that I use today. So like, and I know it's a little lazy, but it seems super useful. Like I'll go into like Claude and be like, I want to communicate this, and I'll just be like, I'll just do like a brain dump of like what it is I'm trying to say, and then I'll say like, make this in a better way, and then it'll be like, and then I just review it, and it's usually like right on. So for me, I like.
To that same point, it's my intern. I ask it questions. What am I forgetting to get a fresh perspective? And then I validate. Again, like I tell people, never ask AI anything you don't already know the answer to. So you really are just using it for validation and for brain blocks, or you just want a fresh perspective. So treat it as your intern.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to think about it. Angular says, I'm not in the right place because I don't like coffee. Hey, just like not everybody in cyber has to have a beard. Not everybody needs to drink coffee. There's a lot of tea lovers up in here. There's a lot of, not everybody likes beer. Some people are wine. So Angular, there's a place here for everybody, including non-coffee drinkers. But for real though, like I definitely need coffee. I'd shout out really quickly to Josh Mason and Real Bilbo, who like at Zero Trust World showed up with like Starbucks coffee, like this big, for me, and I was like, oh, thank you. Oh man, so good. All right, Mara Levy, or excuse me, Moshe Levy. Also, congratulations, Moshe Levy. I don't know if his good news was public or if he DM'd me it. So Moshe Levy, let me know. I got chat up right now. Let me know if your news is public, and then I will share it with everybody. And if it's not, then Moshe Levy's got some big news that he probably will be sharing soon. At what point should we not automate pen testing? Obviously, low-hanging fruit and playbooks, but what extent do we cut off and require manual pen testing? Go ahead, please. You seem strongly opinionated.
You should never automate your pen test. Can you automate vulnerability scanning or assessments or adversary simulations? Yes. But a pen test, the nature of it is to actually try to determine something. If you're running automated, you don't know anything about the environment. There's no intellect. There's no perception. Generative AI doesn't have the ability to have the instinctual of when you see something on your screen, let me go ahead and pull that string. It's just going to run whatever playbook it was loaded in to run. It's only going to scrape any port that it can find open. It's only going to try to fuzz by injecting whatever it can. So I do not recommend fully automated pen test. Use it as a augmentation to at least get a vector in. So find your ingress, find your edge, find a pivot point, but then allow the human to actually finish pulling those strings.
There you go. I love it. Next question is, oh my gosh, is from Elliot Matisse. To expand on the ARGRC, are there tools, resources that can scan threat intel? So not necessarily right now. I mean, there are some like SaaS products that do it. I would want to point out really quickly, and I don't know if he's in chat right now. Let me see. CPA, no. So I wrote a tool. It's on my GitHub. that basically you can configure to go out and pull a bunch of threat intel based on like keywords that you have. So your industry, your whatever. Steve McMichael, aka CPA to cybersecurity, he actually expanded my code and introduced AI capabilities that are really, really cool. And Elliot Matisse, just connect with me on Discord because I don't have it right at my fingertips. But I think I actually did I make a video about it? I think I made a video about it. Hold on one second. Here, we'll come back to this one. Let's queue up Fleetus with a question here. Fleetus, can you answer this question for Abstract? I have an upcoming first-person security analyst interview. What should he expect?
Again, is this internal, external? Are you going to be a team of 1, team of 5? So what I tell people is go ahead and mine the business. Go ahead and see what you can learn about them, see what their size, see what their headcount is, see where they're located. Are they hybrid? Are they in person? And be prepared to answer questions that way. The security analyst piece, that's easy. Like you want to come in and sell yourself, sell your soft skills, sell your ability to add value to the team, understand what their core values are, what their mission statements are, where their pain points are. If they're a product, if they're a service, be able to speak to that, see how you add value. Talk about what you can do to enable their employees to be successful, because security is wrong if it impedes the business. So use your interview to sell that. You're there to add value, not to remove value from the business and allowing them to sell, produce, or cater to their clients. From a technical point of view, generally if it's an entry-level role or an early level, know your tech stack, no tools, no acronyms. Be comfortable giving a day in the life story or when you've experienced X, how you got out of Y. There's always going to be what happened when you fell, how did you respond, have you ever broke something, what did you do? Like there's a lot of strategic and tactical and questions that are going to come up. It just depends on how they run their interview. If it's purely situational your first round, cover what I just said. If it turns into a technical interview, just be comfortable talking about networking, security, SaaS, on-prem, whatever the company does, and just be prepared to do it humbly. If you say, I don't know, say, I don't know, but this is how I go get the answer. And when you send your thank you email, answer the 1 or 2 questions shortly in that response email. You stumped me on this one. This is what I looked up. This is what I would do.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I do want to point out really quickly to Elliot Matisse's question. Elliot, I did put a link in the description in chat, but I just to share this with everybody. Here, let me share my screen really quickly since I've changed this right here. So this right here is a video I just made a couple weeks ago with Steve McMichael. This is Steve McMichael, CPA to cybersecurity, where he took my tool and expanded on it. And now it's got all sorts of AI capabilities in it using cloud, which is awesome. You can see here's the original video I made, or that's a video about AI risk. And this thing is pretty dope. Like it actually, you could see behind us the mind map. There it is right here. This mind map, it actually blows out all your risks based on your current situation. It's definitely worth looking at, and it directly answers what you were asking, Elliot. I think it's cool. I mean, obviously, I wanted to make a video about it as soon as I saw it. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. Just as a programming note, everybody, I have a 9:30 a.m., but our good friend Fleetus has agreed to continue to do the streams. We'll go right up until 10 a.m., and then we will raid Daniel Lowry's IRL, where the AMA and the good times will continue going on. Joy Chopta says, I'm working on an IT audit exercise evaluating risk controls, recommendations, any tips on structuring the report, and common pitfalls to avoid. Okay, so to me, this is a GRC question. What I would recommend is, number one, I would try to be like thorough, comprehensive. As far as structuring it goes, Joy, after you do your work and your analysis, pick the 3 things that you think are most vital, either like the biggest problem or the biggest risk reduction opportunity, and write an executive summary, right? So your report should have a cover page. The next page before table of contents or anything should be executive summary. And if you can get that on 1 page, that's super optimal, because you basically want to inform the executives who are not going to read the whole report. They will read that executive summary. You want to inform them on what they need to know most importantly. And that is like literally your shot at getting budget, getting change, getting impact on whatever the IT situation is there. So That's the number one thing. And I guess to kind of counter that with pitfalls, executives don't care about like elite 0-day stuff. They don't care about techno jargon. Like you just, and they do care about money. So you've got to make it very crystal clear that this is a big risk. It could lead to this amount of risk, like financial exposure. You wouldn't put like it's going to cost $80,000 to resolve, but you might want to put like the cost to address this issue far outweighs the risk exposure of the financial impact of it, stuff like that. Just make sure that when you're talking to the executives, you're talking money. And for the IT people, oh, here's another like best practice too. Sorry to be all over the place. Another best practice: do not just crap on IT. You need to outline things that they're doing well also. In fact, I would recommend a crap sandwich, which is gross to say, but if you get my point, start with something wonderful they're doing. Praise the good stuff. Then outline, the problems, and then end with like some more good stuff. Okay. If you just come in and point out all the problems, number one, you're going to look like a jerk. Number two, next time you go to IT for some help, they're going to be like, bump you. Like, no, like you totally like threw us under the bus, man. Like we're doing these things because of X, Y, and Z. And like, you totally hosed us. So don't alienate people just because you have an opportunity to write a report. Those are the things I would say to that. Okay. Let's see. Fred on is starting CMMC scholarship program with RIT next week. Congratulations, Fred. I love that. Any advice to get value from it, and what are the opportunities to look out for? I would say whether you're doing a bachelor's degree, a boot camp, scholarship program, anything, yes, learn the material that they're giving you, but also take full advantage of the peers in the course with you. Take full advantage of the instructors. Make relationships with them. Give it your all. Commit to it. Put the initiative in. Don't just be a receptacle like, oh, you're here to like educate me and give me value. Be part of it, because those relationships will carry on after you complete that scholarship program. That's what I would say about that. And then also do your own research, like outside of whatever they're teaching you, right? So if they teach you about something, like let's say they talk about, this is like a stupid example, but like, let's say they talk about like a certain level of a multi-factor authentication, like a 6-digit rotating pin, like an app or something like that. Okay, that's great. But like maybe look up multi-factor authentication options also. Oh, there's hardware keys, there's text messages, there's emails, there's phone calls. Like think about those things. And then if there's an opportunity, follow up with the instructors about, hey, like I know we talked about doing the 6-digit rotating pin, but like, what about these other options? Is there value there? Would that still be CMMC compliant? Like show the initiative and expand your own mind. Use it as an opportunity to learn more, and you will stand out. Believe me. All right, I'm at 9:30. I'm going to hand this off to my good friend Fleetus. Eric Taylor said he's going to shut the stream down, so I'm not even going to mind that. But ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. Thank you so very much for all that you do. I leave you in the very capable hands of my friend Fleetus. Fleetus, have a great weekend, man. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. So just to pull some more of these strings that we've been seeing here, just let your words speak. So I've seen some stuff in here, and for those who followed me for a little while, just to go back through the last question, set a common language when you're speaking. Define terms early. Keep it simplistic. You can follow the KISS mindset, but you don't have to use the S in KISS. Just make sure that you have a common language. And then also remember the curse of knowledge. Not everyone knows what you know. We all have intellect. We all have knowledge. We all have the ability to bring something to the table, no matter if we've been doing this for 1 day or 40 years. So just remember that when you're interacting with peers, when you're interacting with executives or customers, etc. So the next question that comes in here, it says, I have an upcoming interview. What would be the expectation? I think we covered this already for the interviews, but imposter syndrome is normal. It's okay to have humility. Admit that you don't know something. Admit that this is what I would go about it. Talk about your adjacent experience. So maybe you've never deployed a SIEM, but you've deployed a firewall. So talk about how you've deployed a firewall. Maybe you've never implemented a policy and procedure, but maybe you've created knowledge-based articles, or you've done a BCP, a business continuity and disaster recovery plan. Talk about the adjacent side of what you've done. to align with it. So just remember that when you're going through interviews, it's all about what you can bring to the table. I don't expect you to know my environment. So you're going to spend probably the first 30 days just sitting and listening. That's especially if you get higher up and the more senior you get, you're there just to learn before you make recommendations. So be aware of that. Take time to be aware of those expectations and be cognizant of it. Another question that came in is like, I've been apprehensive about going forward with my career. Should I still move forward? So that question, I need to understand a little bit more. Are you trying to move forward from like an IT to security? Are you trying to move forward from GRC to SOC? Or are you just trying to go from an associate to a senior? So that's what you just need to be able to understand what the gaps are. And are the gaps something that you can take on? Are you capable of spending the time to learn and approach the gaps that will allow you to move forward in your career? So just be aware of what that looks like. If it's a new certification, new degree, if it's new training, new hands-on experience, find ways to cheaply gain that knowledge. And cheaply can be going to webinars, coming to stuff like this, reading white papers, going to community events, getting plugged in, and LinkedIn groups, Signal groups, Discord groups, or local meetups to learn about the gaps that you're trying to move yourself forward with. Network and engage. Great question. Hopefully I answered it. If not, throw a second question in here. Let's see here. What are you really grateful for about your own journey into cyber? What's something you know today you'd like to have known starting out? So I did a podcast with Chris Whitlock a while back about my journey. I come out of IT. I spent a lot of part of my career doing IT work. So I did IT service management, I did web application monitoring before doing electronic document management, before moving into doing identity and access management, and then taking cyber back into my title, being a cyber systems engineer, running the engineering side of a large security operations center. What I wish I knew is, and I've shared this before, all the terms I learned in IT are directly applicable to what we do in cyber. So policies and procedures, you do those. Understanding critical controls, hardware, software, patching, we talk about that. How your identity is used, username and passwords, the importance of AD groups or process accounts, service accounts, when they're used, how they're used. Those are great ways to help you in your journey. That curse of knowledge. I want knowledge cheaply. So mentor, and be a mentee. Make sure that you take time to glean information from anyone and everyone around you. That could be from the help desk analyst, that could be from the system admin, the telecom engineer, the network engineer, a legal person, a marketing person. Just knowing the business will make you a better security practitioner, because when you know what they're doing, you can support them. When you understand their process and procedure, you can enable them instead of impeding them. It all comes back to, we've all seen it. We lay out this nice, beautiful brick road that's an L, but what does the user do? They cut across and build a dirt path. You want to save that time by getting to know, this is how legal does their job. This is how marketing does their job. This is how the IT team does their job, because inevitably you're going to be on a call with them. There's going to be an event or an incident, and you need to know what they're doing on the other side of that phone call. That was something that was a good value add in my first career choice as I rotated through several departments. So when we declared an event or an incident, I knew their policies and procedures. I knew their run book. I knew their change control. I knew what they had to do, and I knew enough about their leadership to know what their leadership was going to ask them, so I could proactively provide that information early in the conversation so that there wasn't anxiety or any worry that this is going to not have the right information to read in their leadership on the next status call. There's another question earlier. It says, I asked about MSP versus internal SOC. I meant as a new analyst, getting the best experience. Should you do one or the other? It goes back to, again, if you're going to go to a large company, an internal SOC might be great because you can be part of the team. You can learn from them. MSPs generally let you touch a lot of customers' environments at once. So you'll have the ability to learn a new bit about a lot of different technologies. You're going to see more than one SIEM. You're going to see more than one EDR. So CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, Carbon, Defender. You'll have the ability to see different firewall technologies, different proxy technologies, different DAST and SaaS. All these new tools are different when you're in an MSSP, you have exposure to them. Yes, they may have their own tool sets, but you'll also get to understand what those customers use, making you more breadth on what tools you can say you have experience with from an MSSP. As we talked about, an internal gets you, you're part of a family, you're part of a team, you know your users, you're on a first name basis with them. So let me know. And you can queue up the next question. I just was looking through chat, so whenever question pops up, I'll cover. Let's see here. Debating moving away from red team into blue team. My only concern is the blue team seems much more monotonous and boring. What is the best way to transition from red to blue while avoiding boredom? So great question. We've all heard the saying, and as you're a red team member, you only have to be right once. The blue team has to be right 100% of the time. So detection engineering and hunting and the capability of doing threat intel are what makes blue team not boring. Learning what adversary techniques, knowing what the APT group is, being able to walk through the MITRE framework, the defend framework, and understanding these are the tactics, techniques it's going to have. As a red team member, you're bringing that. You can help write detections. You can say, if I got here, this is what I would do next. Do we have visibility? If we don't, what can we do as a stopgap? What is the compensating control? So blue team is not just SOC. You're not just going to be triaging alerts. Blue team can be your engineering team. It can be your cyber threat intel. It can be your content engineering team. Blue team can also include your DFIR, your digital forensics piece. Blue team is slightly encompassing, which DFIR kind of sits in the middle. And then you also have the ability to go purple. Because you've done red team, you can do some adversary simulation. You can do threat hunting. You have the ability to be a purple team member as much as a blue team member. So hopefully that answers your question. I'd like to get into pen testing, but the certs are too high for the relevant ones. Should I look for another area in cyber? I currently have a second tier help desk analyst. So what I would challenge you here is what skill sets make a good pen tester. So that's usually curiosity. That's the ability to script. That's the ability to pivot, ability to be persistent, knowing that the first time's not going to work. For anyone who's done any offensive work, it's a race condition, literally a race. You're just trying to beat the system. And you can actually have a system race condition where you know how they can get there. And then you have to be curious and you have to think, how do I get out of this box that I've been in? Like, not everything is a square. It may look like a square, but it may not be a square. You got to be able to find creative ways to access a system. We can talk about bypassing security controls. You can talk about social engineering. You can talk about how to use the knowledge of being a person to get around certain controls. So that's one way. Certs will help, but they're not required depending on the job. Sadly, a lot of companies, most of their pen testers have 8 to 10 years of experience, at least for the ones I've worked with. So you're going to have to find junior level work. You're going to have to do similar work. There's other people on the call who can speak to it probably better, but most of the pen testers I know who've got into it have 5, 6, 7, 8 years of experience in IT or some other role before becoming a pen tester, not just going directly into pen test from the help desk role. But again, I shared in other places. I've helped someone who was a pool cleaner get his junior pen testing, and now he's a pen tester. So it can happen. What is the brand of your t-shirt? Not a technical question. I'm curious. So this came from Active Countermeasure. This is their CUC2 shirt. So I got this from Wawa Hacking Fest Denver. So this is an Active Countermeasure shirt. So I'm in the current process of moving and changing careers. I'm currently a business analyst. Would transitioning to a SOC analyst be the path of least resistance? It depends. What systems do you work with as a BA? You can potentially move into a GRC role using the same skill sets. You can go into a CTI role using the same, doing cyber threat intel using your BA knowledge and stuff like that. So it depends, again, what your BA is and what tool set are you responsible? Is it on-prem? Is it a SaaS? Is it a legal tool? Is it an IT tool? What are you the BA for? So no, it doesn't have to be the least resistance. There's other roles, as we talked about. There's security awareness, there's GRC, there's compliance, there's CTI roles that you can move into because you have that documentation, investigation, and documentation capability. So that's a possibility. So good question, though. So I don't see any other questions at the moment. I'll give it a moment just to see. If not, I will just talk about a few things that's on my mind as a security operations, a security practitioner. I had the pleasure of taking some PTO this week, but while on PTO, still a practitioner, still thinking. So I had some food for thoughts that went through my mind. Shameless plug, I put out a food for thought daily on my YouTube around these things. They're a few minute to 2 minutes long. So when I was sitting at the beach with my family this week, I started thinking about the OSINT piece of what happens when you travel. How much do you share? Does your spouse, do your loved ones, do your friends share that you're at this resort, at this country, or in this place? When do they share it? Do they remove the geolocation of where you're at? Depending on what you do, what do you have at home? So I started thinking about the security of my house. Like, what is likely going on? I live in a neighborhood. I have good neighbors. They watch out for my house. But all it would take is someone knowing that I'm out of office, and they just park a white service van in my driveway, and they start war dialing to connect into my home network. Well, if I have Internet of Things in my house, such as a smart light bulb, they could compromise that light bulb. That light bulb could just be simply turning it on and off, just being humorous. But they could also pivot to my home network. Let's say I have other smart devices in my house, such as my appliances, my HVAC. They could turn my heat down, and if it's winter, they could freeze my pipes, and I could come home to a flooded house. Or they could turn my heat up, and I have pets that are in climate controlled. They could cause exhaustion in my pets to pass away, or cause a fire or a shortage in my house. Or they could turn off my refrigerator, just like a power outage, and waste all my food. These are the things that ponder through my head. Again, call me paranoid, but these are just random things that happen when you're on vacation. Same thing when I come back. I came back to my security operations. I poured through my SIM. I poured through my phishing products. I looked at what social engineering. I looked at all the alerts that came in. I saw what was still open. I reviewed logs. So you as a user, when you come home, do you know what to check to see if someone had compromised your home network? Do you even know how to look for a compromised network? Do you know how to log into your router and see how many devices are connected? Is it normal to have 20 devices? Are all those 20 devices yours? Yes, you likely could have up to 20 devices in your house if you've got a partner and some kids. Each of you have a smartphone, a watch, a tablet, a computer. You quickly turn into a small business. But do you know how to check the logs at your house? Do you know how to look for compromises? Do you understand what's normal traffic for your streaming devices? Yes, this is getting quite technical. You may not. So the same thing that I looked at when I got back to work, when I checked on my teams, what logs came in, what alerts came in, what events come in, I wanted to do the same thing at home. So I spent a little bit of time Wednesday evening and Thursday morning looking through what's logged in my environment. Nothing happened while I was gone. And to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of those IoT devices in my house. It was just some food for thought that while I was sitting, kids were doing their schooling because we homeschool. Wife was reading and doing some stuff. So I'm over here to my own concoctions, and I'm thinking through the security operations of OPSEC, operational security. I'm thinking through what am I exposing? What are the open source intel that my family is giving away, that I'm giving away by traveling? I do a lot of public speaking. I give away all the time that I'm in this city, giving this talk for this person. I'm here on Fridays with you. People know I'm on here. They know I'm not watching the queue. This could be a good time for someone to attack my organization. The operation security pieces of doing this stuff. So anyone ever wondered what goes through a security operations manager, through a senior security practitioner's head? That's a little bit of the day in the life for me, even though I was on PTO the earlier part of this week. Let's see if any other questions. Oh, look,
What's going on?
We have a guest appearance here. Look at this.
I don't know about all that, man, but here was one question. I was just going to kind of close it out real quick. I'll go behind the glass here. I'll let you finish answering this question, and then we'll give some closing notes, and we'll go do a raid. Give me one
Sounds
second.
good. Thoughts on Gen AI? Well, I kind of briefly shared it earlier. It's really just machine learning with a new skin on it. It's here to stay. We're going to continue to use it. The fear that people say it's going to take my job. It's not going to take your job. The people using generative AI are going to take your job. You've heard Gary and I both talk about how we can use it in our respective fields and in our personal life. It's okay to ask generative AI questions. It's okay to utilize generative AI. But on the flip side, make sure you have data classification, data categorization, data sanitation, data grounding capabilities so that you know what data you're putting in is not being used to train a model and not being leaked. Microsoft this week, I can find the article again, found out that its Copilot had access to all types of GitHub secrets for a lot of different companies that it just was able to crawl because of their partnership. Same thing with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. It's turned on in more and more environments. So if you don't have data classification, you don't understand the data grounding and data sanitation, you could inadvertently be declassifying documents that you have set as confidential or internal. So it's a tool in the toolbox. It's not the toolbox. So just be aware of that. Continue to monitor it, write policies, set up alerting, understand how to protect yourself. It's here to stay. I think it's going to continue to evolve. It's going to be similar to what we did with other technologies. It's just really how do you utilize it and how do you protect it. And then, as Eric said, we are approaching 10 minutes. Daniel Lowry's stream will be showing up at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will put the link in the chat again for those who want to go over and rate it. From my point of view, please feel free to check out my channel. I tend to, as I already alluded, I put out briefly shorts between 10 and 12 a.m. Monday through Friday. I'm also trying to drop a talk once a week, usually on Mondays around a pressing capability. And then I try to go live similar to this where I can give a shout out. I do a debrief, I do a banter, very similar to the AMA that we do on Jackin. Feel free to join me over there. And I appreciate y'all's time today. Again, it's Friday. Enjoy it. Make sure that you get a break this weekend, that you refresh yourself, that you rejuvenate, get outside, go do something practical with friends and family before you come back to Monday and tackle it head on again. With that, I'll turn it over to Eric to close us out.
What's going on? That was so good, man. Thank you so much for doing the jaw jacking. That was really, really good. Just to be able to sit back and just listen to a different perspective. You know, that's one of the reasons why, one, I'm doing accounting, and number two is just, you know, just pure unfiltered from an industry titan like Fleetus here. So, you know, round of applause in chat for Fleetus. Thank you so much for doing this, bud. I really appreciate it. I just dropped the link into chat for Daniel Lowry's Cybercast IRL that does start here in 10 minutes. Please go over there, raid that stream, tell him hi, tell him that you're from Simply Cyber, and we'll go there. I don't think this one will close out and go over. I don't think Jerry has that currently set up, but we are doing. Would anyone have any contacts at Lego? Eric from Barricade. Hold on a second. So I actually happened to look at a stream over there for Daniel Lowry, and someone's mentioning our Lego run that we're doing for our local children's hospital. But anyway, again, if y'all had some fun, y'all got benefit from Fleetus' talk today, please go out there and share that with people. Let people know that we are out here and doing this, and we are trying to bring back to the community. With that, please go out there, enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend. Try to get out there and touch some grass, like I love to say. With that, we will bow out. Take care, y'all. Stay curious.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.